Ladies and gentlemen, we're going into the weeds. We're bringing the shovel. We're going deep with Pete Collico, ladies and gentlemen. Top of the morning to you.
Well, Kev, thanks for having me on again. It's always good to be whale certified. You know that. Not everybody can be whale certified. You know that.
I understand, but sometimes even if they try, they could at least, hey, maybe next season you can make it or something. but but you got to
Yeah.
bring something to the table, man, and you're bringing it to the table.
Well, when you're old, that's what happens. See, you got all these stories and experiences, and Father Time can be good and bad.
Yeah, yeah, you go. You were going to tell me a story, but I didn't have
Oh,
you
the story.
plugged.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you're talking about these freshmen. Uh, making a big step to high school tryouts and whatever, And so when my son shadowed with Danny Wynn at Chaminade, they had a guy showing him around the school. And then at the end of the tour or whatever, I guess they went and seen a counselor and they go, "What did you like about?" The counselor says, "What did you like about the school?" And they said, "The soccer field's awesome."
that gymnasium ain't too bad neither, man. That swimming pool they
No,
got.
that's good. What made it even better? They were able, they had such a great experience. Nikki and Tim did at
Yeah,
Chaminade
yeah.
for Mike Gavane and Joe Morgan, and they just made the experience, you
Oh
know,
man, I.
well worth it. And they, to this day, they still go back there and watch games and go visit Vader and Jomo. And
Oh yeah, man. I never heard his name like that, Jomo.
Joe Morgan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. But
yeah,
I
you
mean,
know,
you have really made a trek out there. Is that from where we grew up, McBride or DeAndre's and Rosary, you're there at Chaminade and you got up there that top corner. It's like you and the Howes and Lou and everybody. It's the who's who on that little bench up there.
well, you know what? Um, you have these lasting friendships through soccer and coaching with people, and it's sort of like the north side. You never forget anybody. You know what I mean? And everybody's calling, everybody's going. The atmosphere at Chaminade for a game is too much with the Red Army and all the fans being so close to the field. And then they're redoing the whole thing from what I get,
Yeah,
and gonna be better, So
yeah.
good experiences at CCP, you
There
know.
you go, baby. Yeah, only a few know the CCP. A- and a
So
nice concession stand.
oh yeah, years ago they used to have they'd have parents barbecuing and you know chicken breasts, hot dogs, whatever.
Woo, man.
It was good, you know.
Yeah, and
Uh,
then they had that sandwich shop right down this road.
oh, they got what Grassi's
Yeah,
West.
man, Grassi's. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
yeah. Another Italian restaurant that's got the gold whale certification behind it.
Yeah. And let's not forget the uncle, Tommy Collico, the best dancer in the St. Louis area.
Yeah, they tearing down his landmark over there at the Imperial Club on West Florissant there in
Yep,
Jennings.
yep, yep, yep.
They there, I think, you know,
Yeah, done.
but
Forget about it.
yeah, you know, but anyway, yeah, he was well known there.
Yeah. I was not able to get up on the dance floor at Club Imperial, but I was able to get down in the rat sculler. and it was some of the band members with Jimi Hendrix, and they had a tour, and I mean to tell you, it was one of the best concerts I've ever been in my life. And I retired out of the show biz after
Yeah,
30
you,
something years. So, man, I mean,
yeah,
what?
you've seen a lot.
Yeah, yeah. And the reason I bring that up is your son still in the business.
Yeah, he still plays bass with Tony Campanella band. Yeah,
Yeah,
still been playing. Yeah,
yeah.
he's
It's
still doing it. You
back in
know.
back in our day, it was Bob Cuban. Now it's the Campanella band that they're the
Well,
go-to.
that you had the Shadows.
Oh man,
Yeah, the Remember the Shadows.
yes, the Shadows,
Flynn
man.
on bass, Neil Flynn on organ, Denny Lawler singing, Terry Knight on guitar, Jerry Rogers drums, and then they
Yeah,
had the
you,
Supremes. They had these three girls that acted like the Supremes, and then four black guys that were like the Temptations. It was,
yeah. Hey, you're
it,
cutting up out there. You're cut.
oh,
Yeah,
okay. All right. How about now? How about now, Kevin?
that's a little bit better. That's a little bit
Yeah,
better. Yeah. Jimmy
yeah.
Knight on guitar.
Terry Knight, Terry Knight.
Oh, I thought it was Jimmy Knight.
Oh, Terry Knight, and then Terry Rogers and Jim Knight. That's there you go. Terry
Yeah,
Rogers with
there you go.
drums. Yeah, they played locally. They were like one of the most popular bands in St. Louis at that time.
Oh man, I saw him at the real show. It brought the house
Yeah,
down. And
yeah.
then Labouré, they played at the Labouré. He said, "Man, I can't wait to go to Labouré." They said,
Oh yeah,
"Oh yeah." So here you go. You have all that, and so you know something about something, and then the kids come up in through your ranks. What is the club that you coach out of? The
well, JB Marine right
Yeah,
now, Kevin.
yeah,
I spent a lot of years at Scott Gallagher with Tommy Howell and the crew over there, and
yeah.
went over to Sporting St. Louis with Tommy, and and then he decided to take a little break, and then uh, I went over to JB Marine.
Yeah.
You know,
And,
yeah,
and so you coach along with Steve Westbrook, and
but yeah. Wes over there, and
yeah,
Matt Ewan's over there, and Matt played with the national team, played at the Smet, played at SLU,
nice.
played in the MLS with the Wizards for I don't know how long.
And
You
then,
know,
of course, you have the club and consultant Lou English, I'm sure.
we had what, Kevin?
A club consultant Lou English.
Oh yeah, Lou's always around for whatever you need.
Yeah, baby. So,
Yeah.
so the reason I reached out to you, because you got a busy schedule. You're probably more busy now that you're retired than when you were when you worked all the time.
Well, you know what? You're finding out that when you deal with people all the time, there's way more stress than work. It's all good though. It keeps you young and everything
Yeah,
else.
yeah,
You
yeah. I
know.
thought it was, the outdoor life that you have. You always got that tan and the white hair, the blonde.
Uh,
Yeah,
oh, I don't know about white hair. I don't know about I like that or not, but
uh, you look good
uh,
with it, man. You're like a distinguished Italian gentleman.
yeah, so it's all good now, Kevin. Yeah, you gotta stay busy, and coaching's one,
Yeah.
that'll keep you. You get to hear what's going on in the young kids' world and everything else.
So it brings me to the subject at hand about when you went out to the Rosary. You know, it wasn't like you usually had introductions or you had invites before, but now you got every Tom, Dick, and there's some people that went to Rosary that were good players, but they couldn't play because they couldn't make the roster. It was so
Well, the thing was it was so competitive in North County. I mean, you had Rosary and Aquinas, and then you club wise, Scott Gallagher was out there, Big Four. You had the Celtics. You had so all these players are playing at a pretty high level, and then they go to high school and they have the tryouts and that, and there was, like you said, there was a lot of good players that you know didn't make it or whatever,
yeah,
and but the competition would made everybody better, before
right.
growing up,
It wouldn't be, it's just there's no room in the inn for you. Sorry, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. But
right. I mean,
yeah,
they had J junior varsities and the B team and whatever, but it's still, I mean, yeah, you know, I think back in, the players were so good, at least, in that vicinity of Rosary and Aquinas. I mean, the players were so good. I mean, you had, realistically, if you weren't on the varsity by the time you were sophomore, there was something going on, and, you had McClure North there as well. It had mainly all the Celtic players. Al Trost coached there.
yeah, yeah,
Drake at Aquinas, and Pete Tumini was at Rosary, you know. And no, it was that, then you'd go, you'd play all the CBCs, the SLUs, and everybody else on top of, the CAC was the Catholic Athletic Conference back then.
yeah, right.
So you had to be pretty ready for the tryouts and that,
Yeah,
But we played in the winter time, see? So you were going right from club soccer right to high school soccer. Club was in the fall,
right.
and then you'd go play, and then, you know, right after Thanksgiving or whatever, or beginning of November, high school start up. You'd play through the winter months in the mud, the snow, whatever. It didn't make any difference.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So the
you know.
story comes up now. Young, strapping athletes come up, and you say, well, you got to have the grades to be able to play high school, and you got to have to bring it. You got to put up your A+ game. You can't leave anything, and so that's quite a shock. And then the idea was that they only played up to this time with fellas their age. Now they're playing, incoming freshmen playing it as seniors, and there's no fifth year player, but but
You
the
know.
yeah, but how do you navigate all that with the
Well,
parents and the players?
I mean, it seemed like back in the day, and maybe just, I don't know enough about it, right? In today's world, but it seemed like back then you had more younger players capable of playing on the varsity. I think too is nowadays, the kids are much bigger, they're more athletic than maybe they were when we were playing, but it's physicality becomes an issue. You know what I'm saying? With
Yeah,
now, kids. I mean, when kids are juniors and seniors, they're grown men. You know what?
yeah,
The
yeah.
thing about it is, though, it all comes down to if you got the heart or not. You know,
Ah,
if you got the heart, you want to. You look at the kid from, D Maria from SLU. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I mean that. I mean, he's a freshman. Played a ton as a freshman. Was probably one of the better midfielders around there, and uh, it didn't. The physicality didn't phase him one bit. You know.
right.
And so that's where I think it's where we had the advantage when we were growing up. We were always playing against older players as it was, you know. And when we played for Big Four Chevrolet with Dave Berwin and that, the junior players that wanted to, they could work out with the senior team whenever, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
And so, that we had an advantage there. Our playing in the schoolyard against older players. We're always playing against older players,
Right.
and not only playing against them, but you looked up to them to where you wanted to sort of play like them. You had
Yeah.
sort of like a role model you were trying to, you know,
Yeah.
emulate or what, you know,
Yep.
and you didn't want to mess up when you were at least in the schoolyard at St. Philip. You might not dance Reese, you might not ask you back.
The commissioner. So here it is. You always had the gift to protect the ball. I mean, is that something that was drummed into you, or that you've seen, or you have developed a particular skill? Do
Well,
you,
I mean, what it was it's just like, it's sort of like, maybe not to the point of being a dribbler, but sort of like a personality of a player. It's sort of like dribbling, So if you look at all the best dribblers that came out of St. Louis, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I don't think that, I'm talking about Marty Stellar, the Cacciatoris, Jimmy Droughty. I'm talking about Dino, all these guys that played on the wing that were orthodox wingers, could take guys on. They probably didn't do a dribbling drill in their life. And that's what I always look at saying, I go, this dribbling's got to be a personality. Otherwise, everybody would be a dribbler, you know.
wow, wow,
You can, certain players like Greg Mikowski, he could do dribbling drills 24 hours a day. He'd never be a dribbler, but he had other aspects of his game. That's why he made him successful, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. When you mention that heart, that space in between the head and the feet, I mean,
Yeah,
it's not to be overlooked, I guarantee.
you know,
Yeah,
it's it's the thing about it is it's the game, as much as it is a team game, defensively, and that it's 1v1 battles. Who wins the battle? 95% of the time, the guy with the most heart's going to win the battle.
there you go.
And
Yeah,
so
it's a
that's if you got 10 other guys doing it, then you're
yeah,
you're you're in a action.
yeah.
You know,
11v11, baby. Yes, yeah, how it is. Yeah, and
you know.
and have you focused out on helping players to understand their roles within the team?
So I always say this, you know, if you don't have a phone, how do you want to play? How do
You,
you even know
you're cutting out, Pete, for whatever reason.
about now? Am I doing good now?
Oh, yeah, you got a little bass on you, baby. Nice.
Yeah, there you go. Well, anyway, so what I'm getting at is um, you got these players that have all this heart, and that makes up for a lot of maybe technical ability that they don't have.
Uh huh.
You know,
Yep.
and so you got to have a combination of everything. Oh, I know what I was going to say is, so as a team, you always got to have a philosophy of how you want to play. At least I do, because if you don't have a philosophy, how do you know if you're even playing bad? You know?
I don't know the answer to that. I would have.
Well, you can. The only way you know you're going to play bad is, you can play good and still lose. But if you don't have a philosophy, and let's just say you're losing, so you don't have nothing to go back to how to try to fix it, maybe in the second half or whatever.
Hmm.
You know, you
Jeez.
gotta have a philosophy of how you're going to play. You know,
Yep.
and kick and run, or possession or whatever. If you're going to play kick and run, you better have guys that can kick it far.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's just the other ways. If you're going to, play possession or whatever, you better have some technical players.
Yeah.
Not necessarily athletes, just guys that got a soccer brain and got good feet.
Yeah. Well, for whatever your technology is, or if you have somebody on your staff to put some some YouTube video or some video up on Facebook and so forth, your kids are really scoring some dynamic, creative,
Uh,
magnificent goals.
well, the thing is we we've had this team for a year and a half, and so they were 7 years old when we first got them. So you can imagine what it takes to get them to even think like that or whatever. It's just hours and hours of repetition, being able to play with both feet, uh, just playing as a team, how to, win the dribble, when not to dribble. It's it's something that takes a while, especially when they're young like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so the good thing that I played for the greatest coaches in St. Louis
yep,
and coached with the greatest coaches in St. Louis.
yes,
And so you just start grabbing what they're teaching, and that from things don't change. I mean, the teams that pass the ball to me seems like the teams that are always winning. You know, they might not win 100% of the time, but they're giving themselves the best chance to win.
right,
You know, and so playing for Dave growing up, playing for play with some great players at Rosary. Then you go to SLU and play for Harry, Val, and Miguel. You know, and it's just continuous technical soccer your whole career.
yeah,
You know, and then you watch it on TV and you watch the Brazil teams from the '70s or whatever, and it just reinforces everything you've been around. You know, and the Barcelona of the 2000s or whatever. I mean, it just reinforces your training and everything else. So that's what I was getting with this philosophy thing.
yeah.
You
Hey,
know, so, so that's what you got. That to me, that's what you got to have as a coach. You know,
yeah. So from the days that you were a player, and then you became a father of a player, and now
yeah.
you're the coach of players. Is it basically, this or that, but it's relatively the same? You could figure it out, or is it something that you have evolved that you didn't do with your kids or with yourself?
Well, the thing about it is it's like I say, is it's nothing's changed. So you keep going back to how you were trained, what would the coaches do in this situation. Then you can learn so much from watching it on TV. Then you add all these coaches on TV, you're seeing them do this and this in different situations. You know, the problem what I see is these in today's world, these coaches don't think you can get kids to play like that, which you know you just seen the videos of the U9 team that we had with and you can get them. You just got to have the patience, and they'll get it eventually. You know, as a coach, you got to just keep going, they'll get there. You just got to have patience and keep working with them. Once they get there, then it's just keeping them sharp on the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. You know the Howe brothers, Brian,
Unbelievable.
Joe.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
Yep. I'm going to tell you this right now. I mean, you know, Tommy Howell will tell you he learned a lot from Dave, and Dave learned it from George Mihalovich at White Store. You know,
yeah,
you could, I'm going to tell you what, I mean, Tommy just took everything to another level, drill wise.
yeah,
And and his brothers, I mean, they're great trainers. I mean, you're going to be better by the end of from the beginning of a year with them guys till the end. It's going to be night and day. And because they believe in how they want to play, and they got the drills to support it. And like I said, I spent, the last probably, I don't know, 10 years or so coaching with Tommy. So, and going watching them when I wasn't even coaching with them. Watched all them kick them and Strange and all them guys, and they played for Gallagher years ago.
Yeah. Well,
And
Brian Howe is an official lawyer for Wales
yeah,
Certified. I wanted to.
yeah, he's a Champions League lawyer. Somebody said he's trying to straighten out FIFA. Is that true?
Oh, beautiful, baby. Man, isn't that something? Well, let's wrap it up in a nice bowl and everything. To
Yeah,
say, Pete, you got the local game, and
yeah,
you have all that, and then this, the professional local game with City, and then you
yeah,
got the United States of America, and
yeah.
Pete, this is your opportunity. Whatever you want to say to who you ever want to say it to, for as long
Yeah.
as you want to say it for.
Well, I think, the United States, I think what they got to do is they need to have their women's coach help out. She's got that team playing unbelievable.
Yeah, man.
I mean, they're entertaining as can be. They combine in the box. They play in tight spaces. The possession's unreal, you know. And I think it's Potachino probably just wasn't used to how big the states are and all these different players coming in and out. But I think he's had a good run the last, few games. He's had a pretty good run. He's starting to figure out the lineup, and hopefully they'll bring it when it starts up in June.
Yeah.
But no, it's all good. You look at like Timmy Ream, he's 37, 38, whatever he is, I mean, he's still probably one of the best passers in the world vertically, from a center back spot. You know, he plays under pressure good, all 1-2 touch. He doesn't panic, and I think that's what Potachino sees that. And that's why, I mean, he's still up with the team, you know.
Yeah. How about City, man? Have they given you and your friends some good seating?
Good what?
Good seating. I mean, to me, going to a soccer game is an atmosphere. It's an event.
Oh, that the atmosphere is unbelievable. Stadium's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
it's first
but to be
class.
around soccer people and listen to the play by play that the fellas do. I mean, that's a lot of times I had to go to the game. You were playing on the field and I was up in the stands.
Well,
Yeah.
that's sort of not good in my opinion. I mean, this thing that makes it sound like, I mean, I don't want to really say it, but everybody knows that one guy that's does it on the radio. That guy's too much, man. I mean, all I know is I listened to a lot of announcers over my lifetime and never heard one like it.
And man, how close were you to living next to Bill McDermott?
Well, he was just a 4 blocks over, but he was older than me. He was like, closer to my sister's age.
Oh,
But
okay.
Billy's always around. He had a lot to do with him. Mark Demley had a lot to do with me going to SLU.
Wow.
And
Nice.
no, they're. So no, it was all good.
All right. Well, here it is, man.
All right, Wills.
We,
Hope I did you right.
oh man, priceless, brother, priceless. And you're gonna be name dropping all around town. I'm well
Yeah.
certified again. I'm well certified again.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good, brother.
All right. The best to you, Pete.
All right. Take care. I'll see you. All right. All right. Bye.
Good luck to your boys.
All right. Thanks. All right. See ya.
All right.